Okay. Hi, I'm Sam. And I've been doing research with Emily Chan and Kevin Holmes using Mechanical Turk because our participants are very hard to find. So in my case, I'm looking at dyslexic participants, and if I'm looking at dyslexic participants, the only dyslexic participants that we have at CC, I know them all. So we couldn't use them for participants. We were trying to find a massive group of people in order to test and to take my survey. So we use Mechanical Turk in order to be able to do that. So Mechanical Turk it's kind of like a social media type venue for people who want to collect survey answers. So massive surveys that you can send out via email that then people will be able to answer their questions and you can receive their data. There's been a bunch of research on the people who actually like Turk, and there's a bunch of different people. It's not all people who just do it for money. You pay them 3 cents, really, depending on 5 cents to maybe maximum $1, maybe $2, depending on the length of the survey and what you're asking them to do. But it's really a diverse group of people, all different ages, a lot of different genders, in the sense of I had people who had answered no gender, don't want to tell you what that is, as well as the classic male female, and is a lot of different people. If you're looking for really specific populations, it's really, really hard. Of 790 people, I found 15 dyslexic people. So that's a very specific demographic. But if you're looking for general answers of a general survey, you can do that. And I can also show you, there are also different tasks that I'll speak about later if you're looking for particular populations. So to start, you enter, this is Mechanical Turk, it's run by Amazon. I'm entering as a requester. So there's a difference between a worker and a requester. A worker is someone who answers the surveys. A requester is someone who provides the surveys to be answered. So as a requester, so it brings you into this home page. It's pretty self-explanatory when you come to the home page, but there are obviously different options up here. And so if you're creating a survey, we'll go with create. So this is a new organization than what I've done before, but we will go through it together because obviously they changed this. So one way that you can, if you're using something like Qualtrics or something like that, it's most likely that you're going to be using an outside system and then plugging in the URL into Amazon Mechanical Turk. So and imagine it as a board in which to post the survey that you're having people answer. There are ways to create your survey within Mechanical Turk, but what I've discovered is that it's pretty nitpicky, and something like Qualtrics is going to be better for that data collection. Go to new project. Let's see if we can go to manage instead. Okay, so if we have here is one of the screenings that you do. So what it does is it gives you, in the managing, it gives you the date, the amount of money that you spent, and all the other information. I'm going through this way in order we can see kind of the back end in order to see how to create one fully. And so this is how the data is collected. You can see that it'll tell you, I put out 100 of these and said that there's a limit of 100 people who can take the survey before it closes. And so it shows you the bar of 78% of people who'd taken it, 70% of the 100. And the canceled means that I had canceled it myself. So this is something that you would see once you've collected all your data. Make sure that I'm going in the right direction. Right, okay. So this is what happened. So what happened was, before, when you saw that weird create thing, was because I hadn't put in my username. So that's an important lesson. Always make sure that your username is in there. So as you can see, we've already created these projects. What you can do is you can create something and publish a batch, meaning that you don't have to recreate the survey over and over and over again. You can just publish a batch repeatedly in order to be able to distribute your survey. So if you want to publish it once in the morning and once in the evening, you're going to be getting different people answering your surveys. So I will go into here. Project name, it gives you the parameters and the layout. If you go to publish batch, which is where it's been created. So what we did here, this is what participants will see. So when they click on your link, like, we're looking for pre-screening, this is how much it will give you if you want to take this. What they do is they open it up, and this is what participants will see. They'll see the link to the Qualtrics, which we have here, which is really the meat of the survey itself. And down here in the Qualtrics, we've provided the opportunity for participants to generate a number and then to put the number in so that we could pay them. And that's one of the part is that some people, if you're screening the people to do a particular task, you may pay some people and you may not pay others. So if someone doesn't complete the survey, or you have suspicion that they just clicked 7 or 2 every single time and it's not true answers, then you don't have to pay them. But what you'd have to go through is then pay people individually in the approving process. So when I was approving 790 people for 5 cents, I wasn't really auditing them. I was really I just paid them all the 5 cents because we had the funds to, and I wasn't going to go through all 790. And so then it makes it easier. But if you're looking for that clear vetting system, that's one way to do that. And so here next. There's also, the interesting about Qualtrics is that the title and the description really matter. So when we had first with MTurk, it really matters. So we had first had this be demographic survey, only 5 cents, and people were opening it and then realizing it looked really long and then quitting out of it and not actually answering any questions. So we changed the title to this title here. It's answer 14 yes or no questions for 5 cents. And so people realized that it was something that they were going to be able to do really quickly and make an easy 5 cents and not have to pay attention to, in the sense that, they were making a decision, or it's do you drink coffee, yes or no? And so that made it so that the next time we published it, it was done, the 100 participants had cleared in 15 minutes. So definitely with this demographic, they're looking for the easiest way to participate and how much they're looking up front, how much effort they need to be able to put into this, particularly with this demographic. Also at the bottom here, the way MTurk works is that you have to have prepaid funds. So what they do is they ensure that you can pay for the entirety of your participants, then you prepay that amount, and then the money will drop from your account as people participate. Instead, that's to ensure that you actually have the funds in order to support all of the participants if you were to get the full amount. That means that you need to prepay. We need to make sure we had at least $5 in the account whenever I submitted a batch, and that's something that we had to talk about, particularly when if you're a research group. But for example, if you post the survey and only half the people take it and you think it's taking too long and you cancel it, that money returns to your account. So you can use that money for another batch later, but it doesn't disappear, but you definitely need to do that. So I think that one of the most important things about MTurk that I discovered was it's very, very specific. So I wanted, different times you would get different people. When I was on the East Coast, I would wake up in order to be able to, over winter break, I'd wake up in order to be able to post at 9 a.m. because people were really answering questions at 9 a.m. regardless of where that was around the United States. And so I would make sure I would do that, and then I would also make sure I posted at noon, or there were different times that I noticed that more and more people were participating. And that's one of the big things is if you're looking for a massive amount of participants, that's something you'll notice over time is opportune times to post your survey. Another thing that's really interesting that MTurk provides that I haven't used, but I think if you're looking for a particular demographic, is that you can create tags. And so you can tag people as a certain age group or a certain demographic of men who are 30 that smoke, or men who are 30 with 2 children. And what you can do is once you create that label, then the people expect to be paid a little bit more because you're using them over and over again as a demographic, but you also have a consistent basis where you're going to have 50 men who have 2 children repeatedly over time. And so that's one of the positive things about MTurk is the ability to refine your search based upon a demographic choice. Personally, I did a lot of background work with MTurk. So I did a lot of things that were kind of like hidden behind the scenes because I wanted to make sure that people weren't lying about being dyslexic, and I also wanted to make sure they had enough time to be able to go forward and like rate 80 plus words and do it with like sincerity. So what I did particularly was I went into this kind of like secret place called Manage Hits. And with Manage Hits, you're able to see like all the different information. You're also able to view the results of every single individual person and every single individual participant. And so I think that's something that's really beneficial if you're trying to like parse out participants or find an individual response. One thing I forgot to mention was how to pay your participants. So when you open up back here in the Manage tab over here, you open up the particular survey that you've published. So you might have published several, and you're looking for the one with the correct title. And so over here would be, it says assignments pending review, assignments approved, and assignments rejected. So this is where I was talking about you can pay them or not. You can go through and approve individual. What would be here would be a list of participants and a checkbox next to them. So you can pay only the ones that you think really contributed. You can pay the ones that, you know, if they're just clicking the same button over and over again and not actually answering the survey, you can not pay them. Or there's a button at the top that says approve all. And like when I was paying 5 cents and, you know, hundreds of people were answering, I wasn't going to go through and vet every single one. And so that's super beneficial if you are looking for particular participants and looking for definitely effort. It's also a good way to save money if you're paying $1, but not very many pay $1. Like it's like a significant survey would have to be if you're paying $1. And that's kind of like the overarching topic of MTurk. It's kind of hard to like give you very good specifics because it can be super technical or it can be super easy depending on what you're doing. What I was doing was very meticulous and very specific, and so it's not all projects, and very few projects are really going to look like what a general MTurk project would be. And so that's kind of the overview, and I think maybe questions would be a better way to like orient where you ladies want to know. And so I don't want to put you on the spot.
Well, our office was hoping to maybe get suggestions on how to maximize our results from surveys, but of course our surveys are only for
CC.
students.
So getting more participants on campus.
Of course, incentives, I'm sure.
Is that what you mean? Just getting more participants on campus, or just using the results to the fullest?
No. Getting
more
students to apply and take this survey.
Getting more CC participants?
Yeah.
Well, let's see now. I don't like MTurk isn't going to help you with that because it's a very, very specific population.
But I think some of what Sam said still applies. One of the things that's a requirement for federal forms is the estimated burden of time. You have to say how much time it's going to take you to do that. And just like what Sam did, where she said, before we had this long survey and nobody took it, they just closed out of it.
Yeah.
Right there at the top of the survey, she said, this is 14 yes or no questions. Super fast.
Yeah, I think that was what gave us the best results. I also think what I had said before about time, like timing of when things are being published. If you publish something at noon or 11:30, kids are getting, like, I get at least 6 emails by the time I leave class. So if you're publishing the email at a time when it's like a mass email, people are just going delete, answer, delete. And so if you were to publish it at a time where it's like 3 or like probably in those intermeeting hours, like 2 to 4, where they're kind of like off hours, where you've had your afternoon meetings and you might be going to evening meetings, people might be more responsive. then also not weekends, because people aren't going to be thinking about it during the weekends or Friday. Friday and Monday are also bad. So yeah.
No, you keep going.
Okay. So I think that those are times, like if I get a survey email in the middle of class, I just won't do it. Like I don't even look at it. So I think that that's definitely like looking at the time of when you're publishing things and also republishing them. So doing it but not doing it every day, because if you do it every day, that becomes monotonous and they just keep deleting it. So maybe like once a week for 3 weeks, where people, or at the beginning and the end of the week for 3 weeks, where people like see it enough times and then they're like, oh, I'm sitting down now, like I'm doing nothing, I'll just take it now. Is a lot more opportune, because like when I get emails about the same thing over and over again, I just automatically delete them and don't actually read them, even if I should. So even if I should. So yeah, that's email for you. But so I think that is definitely true. Definitely what goes into the topic set, the subject line, and the first 2 lines. So like on smartphones, I don't know how many of you have smartphones, or what, when there's an email, you'll see the subject line, the sender, and like the first couple of words of the first couple sentences, and those are really indicative of how much a person's going to open it or just delete it before they've opened it. And so if you can get like how long it's going to take and what the benefit is in the subject line and the first couple sentences, kind of use it as like the first paragraph of a newspaper article in that sense. And colors don't do anything. Like people like try to change all these colors and make them like crazy font. Like no one cares. It's like you're wasting your time and no one's enjoying that. So I think also the accessibility on a smartphone. So I think Qualtrics has the ability to go on a smartphone, but certain matrices like the button clicking, if you have like very good like on that scale, those matrices don't appear on smartphones really, and so if you have, there are some like things that you can change in Qualtrics to make sure that it's visible on a smartphone, and that will also increase your people's answering, because there are often times where I open up a survey on my smartphone like in line and then realize I can't see the full text and just click out of it. Any other?
1 or 2 other things. If you're distributing, how do you distribute your surveys usually?
We usually just send a mass email to every senior.
What I think is what I love about Qualtrics is that if you have a list of students, which you can request through Blue Forms,
Right.
you can actually send follow-up and thank you emails that are personalized to the student. It takes more time, but I think it's worth it. Another thing that I was working with Mark Salviano, who's the tech director for psychology.
Best person ever.
He's really smart about surveys and about
Yeah.
MTurk as well.
Single-handedly created my survey, both of them.
He said that it's also a good idea to maybe not send it to every single person, but to really target a random sample of the people that you need. And just while Sam was talking about, you said there's a problem here, what if we created a job on campus where we have a sample of students and it's their job to answer the surveys? So we could
But
actually
then you
create
also
something
get-
like MTurk.
You also get participant bias, though. Like if you're looking for participant bias, just overview, you guys lay down. So like that's, if you're looking for like what all seniors are doing, then those people are not people. Not that it's not a good idea.
They're people, though.
Yes, I just feel like at a bigger
But they're not
university, that might be more diverse. But out of 2,000 students, it's going to be a very particular group of people.
But it could be a step in the right direction.
True. You will definitely get 100% results then. I just don't know if they're generalizable.
And maybe you, I don't know. Maybe part of the job could be we employ every student here at CC to answer the surveys. That's how we get the funding for it.
Okay, I don't know how much.
Yeah.
$5? I don't know.
I don't know. It depends on the length of the survey.
Yeah.
We have a CC set base pay, which is $8 something an hour. So if it's a
Thought it was-
half-hour survey, that'd be $4. If it's a 15-minute survey, that's $2.50. That's
They're
a cup of
usually like a lot shorter than that.
Really?
It's usually like 10 minutes maximum. But I'm dyslexic, so Lord only knows how long it really takes. And I'm actually reading it too, so like.
It can take a long time to take a survey.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how many people are actually reading it, but I don't know. I think it's also when it comes to percentages of surveys, like if you get 30% back, like that's not bad. 30% of answers is like pretty okay. So I don't know. Are there any other specifics or general or?
Are there any particular incentives that would appeal to students that might get them to answer the survey?
Yeah, I think that having more small item prizes as opposed to one large ticket item might be more.
I feel like there's a shot.
Yeah, like if it's like a 2,000 people and it's one iPad, like I'm not gonna respond. But if there are 50 gift cards, and like I know, I mean, as a psych major, I know the participant rate of how many people are probably gonna respond. So I feel confident that those odds are gonna be better. So if you have met more items and are just explicit about what they are and don't put them in large blocks of text, if you just like list them out, that would be people are more likely to skim it, like localize like a couple things that they might want on that and then fill it out.
That's actually not a bad strategy for a lot of different things. I
Yeah.
found when I worked at a corporation to put 2 to 3 sentences at the very most, and then I would hit enter and skip a line because nobody reads. If it's a big chunk of text, nobody will read it. So
No.
even 1 to 2 sentences I think is good so that they can skim it and then they'll go to the next one because that's just how we read
Yeah.
online now. So
Yeah, and bullet point what the prizes are, or bold them or something. I think is the big thing. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else specifically. Also, Visa gift cards are like this is really really specific. But if the person has an opportunity to choose what they want to buy with the money, as opposed to like
This store.
yeah, like because. Or also like larger corporations, but like a lot of things I feel like are like restaurants downtown, and that's less convenient. So like if it's something at Target and I have it with me, and like next year I'm going and like buying things for my house, that's going to be much more applicable. Plus I can use it in New Jersey or Colorado.
Right.
And iTunes gift cards, people love iTunes gift cards. They're not that exciting. Like people get free crap all the time off the internet. So like. I don't know why people like always they're always about the iTunes gift cards. You can just let those go. But that was a big idea. Like for some reason, like people love those things. They're not that exciting. So, yeah,
Or like a Visa gift card that you could sit and buy something online.
yeah,
You don't have to leave
no,
campus.
because I
You can
think
use it
like
anywhere.
yeah, I got a car this year as a junior, which is like a luxury in itself, and so. The opportunity then to be able to leave campus is something that I don't even think I would have thought of as a possibility before. And so like for students who don't even know somebody who has a car, they're not gonna do anything. I also feel like this is something that I found in a lot of actually research, like Houston, what's it called? UT, maybe Houston? I don't know why Houston's popping into my head. There was an issue of like diversity and like having people included, and the issue was that music being played at events was very white. And so like children, like students of color and minority students were like, I don't belong here because like the atmosphere is what they were attributed to. And so if you have more of a like opportunities that are for people not only like the like ORC type things that are going to be an opportunity like not just REI gift cards, then you're actually going to get a larger majority.
Yeah.
It's my student perspective.
Yeah, I think this year the senior survey was offering 2 airline vouchers, and they thought that might be a nice incentive deal. Do you like that idea?
Airline, but for seniors, yeah, I think that's probably a good idea. But I also think it depends on like, I don't when it comes, well, this is partially because I'm dyslexic and I would just buy the wrong date ticket. But like, I don't look at, like, I don't really know. I know I use United and I know very specific things about my, like, how I fly, because I fly really frequently because I live in New Jersey. So I think to me that wouldn't have been as much of an incentive, because I know I already have points and like I already have my own system. And so that might be one of, like, you'll see whether you get large participant base or not, and if you don't, that might be one of the reasons.
Because there's only 2 of them too, so.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't see that as valuable because I already have, like, I've got my flight set.
I personally thought the free meals at Ransdale thing that they're doing for summer, that's a great idea.
That's a great incentive, but they're really, like, they're publicized in those little tripods, but I didn't see, I've told a lot of people about that. I read them.
And it keeps it on campus too, and for those that can't leave campus.
Well, what if you had a referral system? You take the survey and you get one other person to take the survey. That increases your chance of winning too. And you get 5 people that go.
How many students at CC buy their own airfare to get home, do you think? I
I
mean,
mean, out of pocket?
yeah, like as opposed to mom and dad,
I think it depends very, I mean,
wildly.
yeah, I don't have the real financial stability to be able to ensure that that will always occur. So, but I think that, I mean, knowing the demographics of this college, just colloquially, and also from like a lot of psych data that I've looked through out here, percentage of people who are flying out who can afford, whose family can afford, is very high. And so that may also be why vouchers might not,
Right.
because people aren't worried about how they're getting places.
Well, because mom and dad might not pay for you to buy something online, but they're probably gonna spring for you to come home for the summer or something like that.
Yeah.
If you don't have
Or if
other
you're going on, because if you're going on a trip though and you're buying a voucher, it also implies that you have the money to then pay for everything else once you get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I rely heavily on points because I'm in the air a lot. But that's just personal. Okay, well, sorry, MTurk was like not exciting for you. You should just shut me up for the first 6 minutes.
Actually, for, you know, if you use it for your thesis or something like that.
Yeah. Oh well, I won't be because the dyslexic population on, how do I stop this thing?
There's a little square in a circle on your top bar.
Oh, there is.